Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sarah Hanamidya Maizadi, and today we're going to present our final presentation regarding on Zakat management system, inshallah. Today I'm accompanied by my fellow teammates, which are Nazura Melizana Abidin and Noah Shira Maslan. For our project, we have chosen Spire model as our methodology. We have chosen three types of zakat in our system. So, in order to implement the spiral model in our project, so we decided to represent one type of zakat requirements in one complex spiral. Thus, we have three spiral models that are representing each type of zakat. The baseline spiral starting with requirement listation, requirement negotiation, requirement documentation, and lastly, requirement validation. During the requirement elicitation, our stakeholders would be customer, admin, developer, and client. In this phase, we wanted to find out what the stakeholder needs, domain knowledge, regulation, and existing system. So in our requirement elicitation, our techniques are ethnographics and questionnaire. In ethnographics, we compare existing system, which we have chosen Zakat Selangor and also Zakat Kedah. We analyze and compare between both websites and come up with a table in order for us to understand more regarding on what we need in our website. For our next elicitation technique is questionnaire. We analyze all the feedback collected from the Google form in order to get the requirement. The main reason we use this technique because we want to collect various feedback from different users anytime, anywhere. Based on our observation by using ethnographic techniques, we are able to discover and observe the comparison between the two websites. For Zakat Selangor, it has e-Zakat Pay, while Zakat Kedah do not. And Zakat Kedah is only offering using online banking only, while Zakat Selangor has various methods in order to pay Zakat online. So we're pretty curious about whether citizens in Malaysia are using online system to pay their zakat. So we make a set of questionnaires by using Google Form in order for us to know whether Malaysian citizens are using online system in order to pay zakat or they prefer to pay manually at the counter.
For requirement analysis part, we are using two techniques, which are mind mapping and brainstorming. Basically, both techniques are used to gather all requirement to classify between unnecessary and necessary requirement, as well as eliminate duplicate requirements. For instance, after we interview one of Zakat Kedah staff, we observe that they really want to have a system that able to interact with user or customer. This is because the website that they are currently use is just providing a medium to check on zakat info and to calculate, which does not have a specific medium that they invent to pay zakat. Then we try to approach other stakeholders perspective like user and or customer of zakat center, and what we found is user need the same requirement like staff. Therefore, we as the developer team brainstorm in terms of combining certain requirement and etc. Well, for negotiation part, one technique that we use is collaborative negotiation technique. Collaborative technique use a concept of win-win situation where both sides should feel good of the outcome. Although our system is not necessarily to be in a win-win situation, but our goal of developing the system is to make sure that both party, internal and external, satisfied before leaving the table. So both needs must be met and acknowledged. Our goal is not enough that I win. I will not be happy until you have won too. So other question arise when people start asking how to collaborative negotiation between internal and external stakeholder. The answer are easy. In developing a system, many perspective need to be measured, especially stakeholders' perspective. Therefore, what we practice is to balance the need of our internal as well as external stakeholder when we come to something as crucial as our zakat management system. The reason we use win-win techniques is internal stakeholder like admin, staff, financial manager knows better what your company can do best and can quickly define your system, especially from existing system. Besides, without the internal stakeholder, we cannot launch an effective these web-based systems because they are the one who stand or gain based on users' decision. So in general, the internal stakeholder are much needed in our zakat management system in order to support our system success and many more. Nevertheless, we are not saying that external customers and opinions are not important. We also weight the inputs of all key users both within our system and outside of our system. This will help us to build a system that are reasonable for users and for our system bottom line. Therefore, a win-win negotiation is for everyone, and we also weigh customer opinion for our upcoming blog post.
So let's move on to requirement documentation. As for our software requirement specification or SRS, we're using RecView as our requirement management tool. To be honest, it has pretty limited features, but it has no time constraints, so it's the only plus that we get. However, it's pretty helpful regarding on traceability and flexibility. In some requirements, there are some requirements that need to be linked or referred to other requirements, so it's pretty helpful for us to trace and identify which requirement refers to which. So for example, in requirement 5.1, the user shall able to calculate income zakat, business zakat, and zakat fitrah. So it has references in here. So it will refer to requirement 10, which is this one, 5.2, calculate income zakat. 5.3, calculate business zakat, and also 5.4, which is zakat fitrah. So it's pretty clear for us to identify which requirement refers to it. So in this requirement, it says that it's referred by requirement 5.1. So yeah, it's pretty helpful. That's about it, I guess. About RecView, it's very limited, but it has no time constraint. So yeah. For requirement specification, RecView do have the features of importing and exporting SRS. However, we need to pay for those. In order to overcome the problem, we're using Madam's template instead. For our requirement specification, we have chosen Zakat Calculator, which is one of the main features in our system. This feature shall display the information of all type of zakat and automatically calculate according to user's input. In requirement 4.5.1, the user shall able to calculate income zakat, business zakat, and fitrah zakat. So in this requirement, it needs to refer to zakat 4.5.2, 0.3, and also 0.4. For requirement 4.5.2, calculate zakat income, has multiple child, which the user has to provide information in annual gross income and annual allowable expenses. So for annual gross income, the user has to provide annual wages, allowances, bonuses, and other income. For annual allowable expenses, the user has to provide his or her subsistence, number of wives, number of children, the amount of parent subsistence, annual education expenses, and also annual medical expenses. In 4.5.2.2, the system shall calculate income zakat by using this formula. The system will automatically calculate income zakat by using this formula. And then in 4.5.2.3, it takes income zakat in requirement 4.5.2.2 and multiply it by 2.5 in order to get annual zakat. Last requirement for income zakat, the system shall display monthly zakat payment by dividing annual zakat with 12 months. So annual zakat is referring to 4.5.2.3, which is this one, with 12 months. Next, we're moving on to requirement 4.5.3, which is calculate business zakat. The first requirement is the user must choose one type of business such as private company, financial institution or small business in order to calculate using different formula. In requirement 4.5.3.2, if the user chooses private company, he or she shall able to enter current assets, liability and percentage of Muslim share ownership. This system should calculate and display the result. In 4.5.3.3, if the user chooses financial institution, he or she shall able to enter owner's equity, long-term liability, fixed asset, semi-fixed asset, and percentage of Muslim shares ownership. And the system will automatically calculate and by using this formula right here, which is in figure 2. Lastly, for business zakat, if the user chooses small business, he or she shall able to enter sales revenue and expenses. For this requirement, the system will automatically calculate and get an output by using this formula. For the last type of zakat, which is calculate zakat fitrah, system shall display the information of zakat fitrah by which include the definition, payment of method, and fitrah rate. For the second requirement, in the zakat fitrah rate section, system shall display the period to pay zakat fitrah. The system administrator shall able to modify zakat fitrah rate. User shall be able to enter his or her number of dependents and state of his or her living. For the next requirement, the system will automatically calculate the fitrah zakat by using this formula right here. Fitrah zakat is equal to number of dependents times with rate of zakat fitrah on that state. Lastly, a confirmation receipt will be generated by the system after the completion of payment. That's all for the requirement of zakat calculator.
We will proceed with our last RE activity, RE validation for each spiral iteration. Basically, what we did in this space is we use prototyping as our validation technique and we use Wix as our platform. This is our home page where we offer users to check zakat info, to calculate zakat and make payment. The outcome that we input from our prototype are calculator of each zakat and payment that user need to pay, which is zakat payment. Besides, our system can trace users' history from this previous transaction, and that is the main purpose why we having login and sign up features. Next, last but not least, we have listed our validation output from zakat management system, and the problem that we found are some input cannot be calculated. Therefore, we agree that zakat management system should only ask user to provide numbering values. Second problem is user will be prompted by the system after they had done editing profile, and we agreed to take action of deleting from usage after edit profile as it is considered as unnecessary requirement. Third, user has made misunderstood on feedback section, therefore we add feedback header in feedback section. Last, user have to wait for verification from system before accessing zakat management system, while they should get access to the system after click on verification link. So that's all from us. Thank you.